Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Expect to Win Experience Talk Show. I am Coach Thomas, and once again, I am out and about broadcasting, but we are committed. We are here. We expect to win, and we're coming to you with another informative show. We have an exciting coach and an awesome student athlete that's going to be with us tonight. And sit back, relax, call your young people together, coaches, get your teams together, and this is the Expect to Win experience. And we will be right back after this 1 minute commercial break. I am Be You. I love that commercial. I created that commercial myself, and the message in it is you don't have to try to be like anyone else. You can always be you. And as long as you put it all on the table, you can expect to win. I'd like to remind you also, if you like to get some expect to win gear, like this hoodie, sleeveless hoodie I have on. Let me see if I can show it to you. It is from the Bo Thomas collection. Bo Thomas is a student athlete at football player at Losing High School, and this is one of the first items from the Bo Thomas collection. You can always get ETW gear at www.expecttowinaa.com. And if you are a student athlete or a coach and you would like to, or a coach or recruiter, and you like to be a guest here on the Expect to Win experience, reach out to us, and we'd love to have you as a guest on our show. We are here live from Los Angeles, 7 p.m. Friday evenings, but you can watch us anytime and watch any of the back shows on Expect to Win TV on YouTube. All of the shows are there, and we'd love it if you would like, subscribe, and share our page, Expect to Win TV, on YouTube. And we also broadcast on our Expect to Win page on Facebook, all over the social media universe. All right, we're going to get right into the show, and we have our first guest coming up, and he is a coach, and we're going to bring him in and introduce him and let him introduce himself and impart some wisdom and knowledge into our audience tonight. And he is none other than Coach Tucker. Coach Tucker, how are you, sir?
Coach Thomas, I'm doing good. Well, sir, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm doing wonderful. So why don't you tell us, first of all, where you are, introduce yourself to the world, and uh, let them know what you are all about.
All right. So originally I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, but right now I live in Bemidji, Minnesota. I am the head women's basketball coach at Oak Hills Christian College. We are a part of the NCC 2A Division Two program. So this is my first year coaching women's basketball. So I'm looking forward to our class of 22 that we have coming in next year.
Oh, okay. What city did you say you were in?
We are in Bemidji, Minnesota. So we're about 3.5 hours north of Minneapolis, but we're 2.5 hours south of the Canadian border.
Now that sounds like either it's a place where there are not a lot of black people or there are a whole lot of black people.
Well, I'm gonna say it's not exactly racially diverse, but I will say the weather is pretty diverse, but the opportunity for student athletes of any racial background or economic background, I think it's a great opportunity to come play at Oak Hills.
How did you end up as a women's basketball coach in Minnesota? And I'm not going to even try to pronounce the city. I still didn't get it. But
It, it
how
it
did you
took me
end
three
up?
it took me 3 months to do it. So,
Well, I don't feel bad. How did you end up there?
Coach, I tell people, God always has a plan. And so
Yes.
God's plan is always bigger than our plan. And so me and my family were actually ready to move to Tampa, Florida, and or Las Vegas. And so I was searching for jobs and interviewed for a couple of jobs. They didn't go as planned for different reasons. And this job was open for a minute, and something told me, hey, just reach out. And I'm like, I'm not reaching out. I can't pronounce the city, and I don't want to move to Minnesota. It's too cold. And then something still told me to apply for the job, and so I've reached out to the athletic director, which is a really great guy, and we talked for like an hour and a half, and like I was sold on the job, and he's like, hey, do you want to meet with our board? And I'm like, sure. And after I met with the board, I mean, they hired me. It's like, we want you to be our coach and lead our program. And so I had to pray about it, and me and my wife had to pray about it. It's like, hey guys, is that really where you want us to go? And so evidently that's where he wanted us to move, and so we moved from Kansas City to Minnesota.
Wow, wow. So were you a basketball player, or are you a basketball player, and why women's basketball?
So I played a little bit of college basketball. I was on the JV team. I mean, I don't think I was that good. I was decent. I could dribble, I could pass. I'm only 5'8", but I love Magic Johnson. I'm old school, and so
Yeah.
so I love to pass the ball. And so that's what I was able to do. But I've been a basketball coach since I was 16, and so I've actually coached for 28 years now. And so I'm only 45. As I'm getting up there, I just learned how to coach and how to mentor young men actually. But then my background is actually in minor league sports, so I've coached in the ABA. You remember the ABA a little bit?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Remember when Dr. J was in the ABA?
Yes, sir. And so I've coached in the ABA for 10 years. I've coached minor league men across the Midwest for 10 years, and then I've coached minor league women. And so I just kind of been coaching, and it's been a lot of fun. I always told people I would never coach women unless the check was bigger, and then I still got the job in Minnesota, and I still look at my check, and I'm like, hold on, how does this work out? But I love coaching girls. I coached high school girls in Kansas before I moved, and I love coaching girls and coaching women actually more than I love coaching guys. So
Well,
it's a lot of fun.
I'm going to ask you the same question I ask every women's basketball coach because I coached girls softball. I
Okay.
coached girls softball and I coached baseball, boys baseball. The girls listen 10 times better than the boys. Would you agree with that in basketball as well?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Guys know everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And when I said with the girls, once you have their confidence, they will do anything you ask them to do without question.
Yeah, with girls, and I have the same philosophy. And when I tell people, if you get girls to believe in you and trust you as a leader, they will run through a brick wall for you. They
Yes,
will take care of
yes,
business. Guys,
absolutely.
guys know everything but don't know anything.
Yeah.
So They want to be James Harden. They want to be, LeBron. I mean, it's just too much. They want to tell you what a travel is, what's not a travel. And I'm like, I've officiated college basketball. I've officiated high school basketball. I think I know what a travel is. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would never go back to coaching guys
Uh,
unless the check
we
was bigger.
they, it's all about the check.
Yeah, it's
Well,
about the check.
it's about the check, but it's about making that impact. But the check definitely makes it a lot easier to do it.
Absolutely.
You know, we have a question in our chat room, Coach. It says, "What is your advice? What advice can you give a student athlete to get noticed by a college?" It's a very good question.
Absolutely. The number one thing for me, coach, is take care of business on your own. Um, do your own film. Send. Don't rely on your high school coach, AAU coach to take care of business for you. Be your own advocate. And I think a lot of athletes don't understand how to be their own advocate. I love it when a student athlete shows that initiative and they are their own advocate and they do things on their own. They reach out by email themselves. They send me game film themselves. I have to be honest. Like for me, if someone tells me, "Hey, well, if you want my film, call my high school coach or call my AAU coach," I don't have time for that. Have your film
Wow.
ready. So, I think the number one thing is be your own advocate. Learn how to market yourself.
Let me ask you this, Coach. Last year, well, this is your first year coaching the ladies in Minnesota. Now, last year, with the COVID and that affected everything. Suppose a player, say in 2020, say they just had an incredible year in whatever the sport is, basketball, football, whatever. 20 here the pandemic hit, they don't have any film for last year, but they want to promote themselves. How can they, how if because of COVID they didn't play or whatever the reason? Now what advice would you give to that student?
They
Say they
work
have film for 2 years ago,
on
but they don't have film for last year because of COVID.
Yeah, so for me, if they don't have film because of COVID, then I will actually take a look at their film from 2 years ago. I will give them the benefit of the doubt and say, you know what, I can work with that. Now, if they played this year and just don't have film, that's a different story. But if it's 2 years ago and they just didn't have film because of COVID, and I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
When you look at the film, Coach, and this is something I always, as a baseball coach, to me, coaching baseball is easy. You know what you're looking for. So for a basketball or football coach, I think those are a little more involved. What are you looking for when you look at someone's film? As a baseball coach, I'm looking to see how you run, can you catch, can you hit? That's basically it. Follow. But what are you looking for on film?
For me, coach, I think I'm going to be a little different from other coaches. Number one thing I look for is can you run and do you play defense? Um, if I don't see film where you're playing defense, I kind of put you on a second tier of good offensive talent. That's good. But I will email you or text you and ask you, do you have any film where you play defense?
Wow. Yeah. See, and that is where I can see the issue coming in with the boys because, like you said, everybody want to be Kobe. They want to be LeBron. They, want to make a highlight film when that's not what the coaches are looking for.
Well, I think with boys too, I think the recruitment of boys is a little different than girls. Um, just like as you know, the Warriors are playing tonight, so everybody wants to shoot the three ball. They want to
Right.
shoot 25, 33s a game, and I think Dallas the other night they were like 11 for 44. Well, and they lost. Um, the one thing that can be constant in a game is defense. You can't rely on a three-point shot. So we focus more on our mid-range shooting. We focus more on our defensive side. Um,
Right.
and so when athletes send me film, and I get 20 minutes of film, and all they're doing is shooting a three. Well, but then I look at the score of the game, and they're already up by 30 or 40. I'm like, well, you didn't prove anything. You're shooting against a bad team. Show me when it's a 1 point game, or show me when you're down by 10 with those shots, or really show me how you can impact the team by playing defense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow, that's a good philosophy, Coach. And so, Coach, we're gonna wind this up, and like I said, I'm honored that you are here with us. Uh, what would you say to student athlete that was uh, considering coming to play for you? Why should they come play for you?
Um, why play for me is because I think I'm one of the good coaches across America. Am I the best coach? No. Am I the worst coach? No. I do have the experience by coaching athletes to get to the next level, by going overseas and having coaching win in a feeder league to the WNBA and stuff like that. Between coaching experience for 28 years, being a college basketball official, um, and being a man of faith, I think that holds a lot. What I call fit, and fit is faith, integrity, and trust. And so I'm not always concerned about what my athletes can do for me on the floor, but I want to be concerned about what they do off the floor. So after their 4 years at Oak Hills and we win a couple national titles, are they going to be successful when they leave? Because
Yes,
national titles mean nothing when my girls leave and they fail.
yeah.
So as a parent, any parent that wants a coach that actually cares for their athlete, then Oak Hills is definitely a great option for them.
All right. Well, Coach, why don't you give out your information, your social media contacts, if anybody want to reach out to you?
Oh, that's awesome. So my email address is wbb at oakhills.edu. My phone number is area code 816-872-6622. And then our school website is Oak Hills Sports Management program, business program, criminal justice. So those are the top three that athletes actually come to Oak Hills to take. Um, Sports management is really good. Our athletic director is the director of that program. My degree is in sports administration. So I definitely would love for athletes to come take part in that program, because I can help them with my experience and how to market themselves, as well as coach. Another thing that I do is all of my girls are going to learn how to officiate, because I want them to make some side money. And so if I can teach them how to make 25, 35, 40 bucks an hour, then that's what I want to do. And so they're definitely going to get a great education, but then also they're going to learn how to make some money on the side.
But Coach, I like that, but for even for another reason though, because I think that helps them to understand what the officials are going through, and it helps them to see the officials in a different light as well.
Absolutely. I think being able to relate to officials, and I think, coach, on the other end too, a lot of as coaches, I think we fail our athletes sometimes because and parents, I think, and parents as well, but we always want to see the only way to make money. Um, but learning how the officials call the game, what you can and can't do as an athlete. But then also, there's officials that make more money than guys playing overseas. And so if you're, officiating NCAA, Division 1 and the G League, I mean, you're making $100,000 a year. So I don't
Wow.
know, Coach. I think I might be more willing to make that type of money if I don't go overseas. I mean, it's not going to be like, oh man, I didn't make it overseas. No, I need to figure out how to make some additional money, some additional
Yeah.
income, and first class flights. I mean, 4-star, 5-star hotels, and make 100 grand, Coach. I think I'm gonna go for that one.
Exactly. I concur. So everyone, thank you, Coach. This is Coach Tucker from Oak Hills Christian College, correct? In
Absolutely.
someplace in
But
Minnesota.
we are highly up north in Bemidji, Minnesota.
Bemidji, Minnesota.
Bemidji.
Well, Coach, you are welcome here anytime. You or any of your players. Thank you for being here. The door is always open to you, sir.
Coach, anytime you want a player, I can hook up a player for you, and I definitely appreciate you having me on your show.
Oh, well, we're gonna reach out to you to get one of your players on here.
Much appreciated, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Tucker from Bemidji, Minnesota, Oak
You got
Hills
it right,
Christian.
Coach.
Yes, sir. All right. All right. Whoa. I love having the coaches on because coaches always give us a different perspective. And when you have coaches that really care, every coach that really cares always goes the extra mile for their players. So, Coach Tucker from Bemidji, Minnesota, thank you again, Coach. Looking forward to having one of your players on the show. We're going to take our second commercial break for the evening, and we'll be back in 50 seconds. All right, we are back, and we have while we're waiting our student guests, I'm going to bring in Coach Kelly, our recruitment specialist, and Coach Tucker asked a question about getting a copy of the interview. For you, Coach Tucker, and anyone else, the interview will be on Expect to Win TV on YouTube, and you can watch it over and over and over and over again. You watch it until you get tired of looking at me. So we just uh it's there, it's available. But Coach Kelly, while we wait our student guests, what do you have for us tonight?
Uh, really, the a lot of the stuff that again, coach the coach touched on basically was when you're reaching out, how are you reaching out? Um, I've had a little bit of usually what my tip usually consists of is whatever I'm dealing with this particular week, which this particular week just happened to be some Division 1 connections to a player who wasn't able to respond or didn't respond quickly. I always want to encourage you guys, for any coach, to make sure that you're doing your part when you ask help for recruitment, that you reach out, because you understand on your side, whenever you reach out, if a coach doesn't reach back out to you, how you feel. it goes the other way too. When coaches are reaching out, and they're interested in your services as a basketball player, as a student athlete to come help them in their program, for you to make sure that you get back to them as quickly as possible. And I know there's going to be times whenever you're doing things like, I know graduation was this week and things like that. But shoot them a text message and say, at least set up a time. Or if you're not interested in their school because it's either too far, they don't have your major, or whatever, make sure you tell them, I'm not interested in your school, but I will, um, kind of give you a little bit of a, I guess, a little extra on that, which to say, I wouldn't cut anybody off at this point, the way recruitment is right now. Um, because you could say no to that coach who was really interested, and then something fall down the lines later, where you may have had a school and something didn't work out, and then you need that coach back. And I'm not saying keep anybody on the line, but I would say make sure that you're completely 100% sure on where you're going, how far your talks are going with the other coaches and the other schools, so that you know for sure that that's not an option. But just make sure that you're being, I guess you could say, not rude, or cordial, whenever you're contacting and connecting coaches, especially if they reach out to you. Make sure that you're contacting them back, and also when you reach out, make sure that you're sending the right image of yourself through your film that you're sending.
All right, Coach. You know what? I'm ask you a question, and I really wish I had asked Coach Tucker, because Coach Tucker mentioned, you know, uh, take care of your own business. Don't depend on your coaches to send out, your film or whatever. Uh, what should that look like? How should a student athlete present themselves? Because my guess is that a lot of these kids, they don't have a clue. They just gonna email them, their film, and that's it. But it's almost like, okay, if you apply for a job, you want to submit your resume with a cover letter, and that type. How should a student athlete do that? How
Uh,
should
the
they
fir-
present themselves?
the very first thing is your film, because in your film, just like Coach said, he's looking for certain things. Everybody knows, and especially coaches know, every shot you obviously take in your film that you send out is going to be the positive one. You're not going to show yourself in a failure situation. You're either going to be the one scoring the touchdown, or getting the interception, or making the tackle on every single play. So you want to make sure that the image you project is your whole total self in a game. And I'm not saying but how are you? That's why they ask for game film. Also on top of that, hey, I'm interested in this player, but I want to see what they are in other situations. The other part is make sure when the first thing that they look at, even before they're interested in your film, is your height, position, and stuff like that, and then your GPA and stuff is included in that. So obviously, uh, you have to do a lot of work prior to prior to the presentation. So like your schoolwork is every single day. And then there's a lot of stuff that goes into your pre-preparation. Like for example, if a coach says, "Okay, well, I'm interested in you. Your GPA looks good. Is your NAIA clearinghouse filled out and cleared, or is your NCAA clearinghouse checked out?" And if that's not there, it's like some people don't know about that. But if you have that in preparation, say, "Yes, my NCAA clearinghouse is done," that makes you look really good. Like Coach said, it looks like you take care of your own business. Or if you divert attention and say, "Well, you got to talk to my mom, you got to talk to my dad, you got to talk to my coach," or whatever, that basically says whenever you get to their program, that they're going to have to kind of take you along too. Versus,
Baby,
yeah.
right?
So
Wow.
all of this it's stuff that happens prior to the presentation of even um, your game film of any sort, and that includes the investing in yourself, the time that you're going to take. Regardless if you're playing in certain positions, do you have workout film to show how this is how I work out when I do work out? just stuff like that. There's a ton of stuff that goes into it that kids forget about or they don't think that is important. And so even when you get to a certain place, uh, coaches want to see you grow and expand, and you developing as a player to even be grow enough to a college level had to go through some failures and some growth as a player in order to get there. You just don't wake up one day and all of a sudden you're a college level player. Well, you expect that as a coach, even once they get to your school. Obviously, when you come in as a freshman, you're not going to be senior level knowledge, and your body's not going to be fully developed. You're not going to know everything you need to know. You need to plant yourself and grow as a player, and it doesn't always happen. But I mean, it's hard work and dedication comes along with it. Everything is pre-preparation, and like I've said before, it's always stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Right, right. What about coach? What about film that's outside of, say, the basketball court or the football field? Is that important? Say, like, community service work, or you working with kids or something like that. Is that film? Is that something they should include?
Well, I think that you can include that in your conversations. It may be even in your what we call info packages when we send out. It's just the info about you, what's your name, what school you're from, your GPA, your ACT, and SAT score, some of your accolades, and in your accolades you can put, I volunteer for this, or I volunteer for that. So that always helps. I don't think film is necessarily needed for that. I'm sure coaches will, if they're interested in it, ask you further, deeper as you get in contact with that. But I
Right,
think that your film that you send needs to include different areas of your game. And regardless of whatever sport you're playing in, all aspects of whatever position you're playing. There's some that teams that they have specialized positions where you're just doing certain things, and there's other sports like basketball you want to show everything, offense and defense. And other teams where it's like a specialized, like football, you want to show something other than just your blocking or just your interceptions or just your tackles. Just things like that.
I forgot how to get back, coach, but I'm back. Uh, but we had a question in the chat room, and we've addressed this in the past, but I think it definitely bears repeating. What advice would you give a student athlete about the things they post on social media? Do
Oh wow.
coaches look at that?
You have I deal with it probably maybe at least once a month, or I either hear about it or something like that where kids will lose scholarships because of the image that they project. And um, they don't understand that it's the image that you project is that coach is going to bring you into their program. And it's more than just about being a player and playing basketball, because college is a business, and the fans that you bring in are making, you're bringing in money into the school. So when you bring money into the school, and there's boosters and stuff like that, alumni that are always contributing, and they always want to interact with the players. So if you're a hoodlum or acting that way, or you don't know how to speak to people, then you're not going to be able to interact or function in an environment that's gonna be a business producing type thing. So and of course there's always times where kids get in trouble and they do things off campus, and but a lot of times they'll sometimes it's dealt with in house. Other times it'll be bad enough to where it makes the news, or they'll lose a scholarship or something like that. But you got to be careful about what you put on social media and everything. Today kids are just anything that comes to their mind, they're just automatically going to put on there. And I just urge you to make sure everything's clean. Yes, we want you to be an individual, but you also have to understand that you putting your image out there, you're presenting yourself to try to say that I am a worthy person to include in your program.
I want to add something to that, Coach, because I was watching this week uh, this rapper, Young Thug, that was arrested, and I was watching his court appearance. Uh, First of all, you calling yourself Young Thug, that's kind of, I understand the entertainment industry, I understand the rap game and all of that. But what really got me is that when this young man stood before the judge, I don't know who he is. I've never followed him, but from what he was saying to the judge is that, I'm sorry I didn't listen to what you said last time, and I promise if you give me another chance, uh, I will listen to you. I'll do what you say and all of that. Young people, sometimes you don't get a second chance because the judge told him no. You didn't listen the first time, so now I'm not going to give you bail. I'm not going to let you out. And this guy's he's being charged under the RICO Act, which is what they charge mafia members. It's basically, they can enhance any sentence that they give. So I said that to say a lot of times you guys want to put this music on your social media pages and associate with these people that they may be real thugs or studio thugs. But eventually you're going to try to emulate what you're putting out there. And I think from a coaching standpoint, if I see someone and I see that's what you're associating yourself with, yeah, I don't know if you're worth the trouble. Would you agree with that, Coach?
Absolutely. Because it like I said, it's a business type thing, and you got to be able to interact with people, got to interact with other players and coaches, and that it. They understand the culture. There's no
Yeah,
doubt about that. But there's also a point to where it says, okay, regardless of what you're liking as far as music or something like that, can you put those things aside and be able to function in this different environment? Because it is to your benefit. Obviously, we're paying for your school, and when you get done, the education that you're going to get out of there is going to increase your earning value and your earning potential. So why not learn something different or find another side of yourself or be respectful enough to make those things happen so that you can be successful in the program.
yes, yes. All right, Coach. Well, that's awesome advice as always. And I don't know. I guess maybe our student athlete got caught up in something, but we'll reschedule him. And but we had another awesome show tonight, full of great information. And those of you that are watching, we are here live from Los Angeles on Fridays now, Fridays at 7 p.m. And so if you like to be a guest, you're a parent, you have a student athlete, or if you are a recruiter, a coach, a pro athlete, we would love to have you on the show encouraging our young people. So reach out to us and we'd love to have you on the show. And for I am Coach Thomas, and this brilliant gentleman to my right is,
I'm Coach Kelly.
and this is the Expect to Win Experience Talk Show. And we will see you next week here on Expect to Win TV, live from Los Angeles. God bless you, everybody, and we will see you next time.